Unfiltered. Like you're in another world, like you zoned out.
Hello and welcome to Unfiltered. I'm your host, Georgii Speakman, and today I'm going to explore one of the most profound and layered subjects of all time, love. And not just romantic love, but love as a force, as a frequency, as a way of being. There's a saying we've all heard: love heals all. But how do we reconcile that with the fact that life also demands balance? If everything is relative and we only know love through contrast, through its opposites, how do we sustain love for ourselves and for others while navigating everything life throws our way? To put it bluntly, life is hard. It tests us. It's full of ongoing challenges. It throws us into cycles of trauma, heartbreak, stress, rejection, ego, and suffering, i.e., the human experience. Just when we think we've overcome or healed one aspect of ourselves, only more lessons arise. And yet, we're fundamentally told that love is the way through it all: love for self and in turn, love for others. That love is the answer, period. But if we live in a world of polarity, light and dark, joy and pain, peace and chaos, then doesn't it stand to reason that love is always swimming in tandem with its opposite? And if that's the case, how do we find the strength to choose love again and again and again, especially if we seemingly face hardship after hardship, struggle after struggle? You see, it's really easy to lose faith, trust, motivation, knowing that once again, there's often a silver lining, and if we're down, we can really only go up. Life is a relative experience. We often don't know joy without pain. We don't appreciate peace until we've known chaos. The nature of existence is dichotomous in nature. And so, in every moment of darkness, there also exists an equal opportunity for light. In every experience of hate, there's the potential for love. This isn't just a poetic concept, it's physics, it's energy. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So, what does that mean for our internal lives? It means we're in constant energetic flux, which I know we can all admit to. Love and ego, heart and mind, spirit and shadow, these things coexist. They challenge one another, they define one another. And it's in that space, the in between, that we get to choose. So here's a question we really ask: when we fall into fear, anxiety, sadness, resentment, or anger, are we really failing? The answer is no. These emotions are part of the human experience. They're literally a given. They're indicators. They are messengers, but they are not destinations. When we experience emotional contrast, it doesn't mean we've failed. It means we've been given another opportunity to return to love. Every so-called failure is actually an invitation to reflect, to forgive, to surrender, to accept, and to transcend. Let's talk about ego, the antithesis to love. We all have one, I sure as hell do, and the ego needs to be right. Ego needs to be seen. Ego craves validation. It often operates from fear of being hurt, fear of not being enough, fear of losing control. And then there's love. Love doesn't demand, love doesn't control. Love is rooted in trust, in surrender, in unity. The mind often serves the ego and the heart serves love. And within the energetic systems of the entire body, our chakras, energetic meridians, our spiritual ecosystems, there is constant interaction between these opposing forces. Now, this is important. Our choices either empower or weaken our energetic systems. They don't call alcohol spirits for no reason. Are you drinking too much, for example, which catapults you into residual places of darkness, like anxiety or depression, that makes it much harder for you to be able to navigate the light? So, what choice are you choosing to make in every given moment? This is just one example of obviously limitless ones. So, if love is truly the answer, why are we so easily pulled into its opposites? Why is it so hard to stay in love 24/7, outside of obvious influences that seem to distract us from the truth or love, such as the likes of social media that catapult us often into fear in general, which is constantly disconnecting us from our higher selves. So it's tough. Our world is littered with distractions of all sorts. There are spiritual influences unbeknownst to us. And you really have to have like such an incredible self-awareness and willingness to stay the path at all times and constantly pull yourself back into the lighter space. And there are so many things you can do in order to achieve that, spiritual and religious practices such as morning meditation, prayer, cleansing, salt baths, affirmations, mirror work, yoga. The list goes on. And it's your playground, it's your life. You do you, but do it with intentional care because literally no one else is going to do it for you. And it is work. It's daily, moment by moment, breath by breath work. But it's also a practice, a muscle. And the more we choose to pour into ourselves, love, consciously, intentionally, becomes more accessible. The most important thing is really to lean in. Love for self is the gateway to love for others. And it's not just bubble baths and affirmations. It really is real work. It's self-awareness, self-regulation, self-acceptance, self-reflection, and a hell of a lot of it. Choosing love can look like giving yourself grace on the hard days, acknowledging the pain without letting it consume you. Instead of embodying the pain, write it out and burn. Don't write to keep. Write out affirmations and positivity, but the stuff you want to release, write it out and burn it. Forgiving yourself for not getting it right every time. Asking yourself, what would love do or choose here? These are just a few basic thoughts and examples in how we can stay close to love, even when the world around us might be pulling us in the opposite direction. I know it does for me all the time. The good news is hate will never win though. It might make a lot of noise, but it doesn't have the frequency literally to endure because hate feeds off separation, scarcity, and fear. And that's a chosen mindset. That's a mindset. And that energy is actually unsustainable because it makes us unwell. So the only choice we do have at the end of the day is to return to love. Love is what we return to when we feel ready to feel whole again or are prepared to be whole again. It's what creates, it's what connects. It brings us back to ourselves. And if we want more love in the world, we've got to stop talking about it and be the ones in our each and everyday lives to create it. It's in how we treat others, how we respond, how we forgive, how we show up. We are really, truly responsible for our energy, each and every single one of us. We're responsible for the love that we bring. That doesn't mean we forget what's happened. It doesn't mean that we allow the past to define our frequency. We acknowledge the pain, we do the work, we do our best to move forward. It's a constant journey. As I said earlier, it's constant work. Love is not passive, it's not fluffy, it's fierce, it's radical, it's courageous, it's resilient. And if we can choose it, that means we can keep coming back to it. Then maybe love really can heal all. So much more to share on this subject. Of course, we could talk about love forever, but I'll wrap it up here for now and come back on the subject of love at a later date. I just want to say thank you for tuning into Unfiltered. I hope you've enjoyed this little episode on the subject of love and the dichotomous nature of life. Until next time, stay soft, strong, and stay to choose in love. And of course, stay unfiltered. Thank you so much. Unfiltered.
Like you're in another world, like you zoned out.